What's up, Broncos country? You're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. $2 million. That's right, you heard it. $2 million. While other NFL teams were burning fortunes on free agents, making risky bets, and guaranteeing multi-million-dollar contracts, the Denver Broncos did something few expected, something so surgical, so precise, that it's making rivals bite their lips with rage at this very moment. And best of all, it cost less than a backup quarterback. I'm talking about J.K. Dobbins, and this signing is turning the game upside down. Stick with me until the end, because you'll understand why this move may have been the smartest of the entire NFL offseason. Look, when free agency started in the middle of summer, nobody was paying much attention to what the Denver Broncos were doing. Everyone was looking at the big names, the $100 million contracts, the flashy headlines. But meanwhile, behind the scenes, the orange and blue front office was plotting something brilliant. J.K. Dobbins, running back, coming straight from the Los Angeles Chargers. And guess how much the Denver Broncos paid for him? $2,065,000. I'm not kidding. While other teams were spending $5, $10, $15 million on running backs, the Broncos got one of the most explosive backs available for an absurd bargain. But wait, because it gets even better. Much better. Depending on which side you're on. Because if you're a Los Angeles Chargers fan, get ready to feel some deep pain right now. The Chargers had Dobbins last season. The guy put up over 1,000 scrimmage yards, scored 9 touchdowns, was one of the pillars of their offense. And then, when it came time to renew, what did the Chargers do? They let him walk. Simply let him go, and look at what they did with the money. They spent over $5 million fully guaranteed on Najee Harris, a veteran running back who had everything to be an important piece. But then came the plot twist. Harris got injured and is out for the rest of the season. $5 million down the drain, and it doesn't stop there. The Chargers also used a first-round draft pick on Omarion Hampton. First round! That means over $10 million in guaranteed money just for 2025. Do the math with me. Harris and Hampton together cost the Chargers $16 million this year. $16 million. And Harris won't even play. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos is paying just over $2 million to have J.K. Dobbins destroying defenses week after week. Let me explain the size of this bargain. During the last 2 seasons under Sean Payton, the Denver Broncos had a chronic problem. The team went 2 full years without a single running back reaching 100 yards in a single game. 2 complete years, 34 consecutive games without anyone breaking that mark. That's almost impossible in the modern NFL. The ground attack was broken. They tried everything. They bet on veterans, on young prospects, on different schemes. Nothing worked. The running game simply didn't exist, and that limited the entire offense. Because when you can't run the ball, defenses pressure you in ways you can't even imagine. And then J.K. Dobbins came in. His 4th game in the orange and blue jersey. 4th game. The guy broke a 34-game consecutive streak without a 100-yard rusher. Dobbins simply arrived and said, no, this streak ends now. And it really did. But it wasn't just about breaking a bad streak. It was the way he did it. It was the violence, the explosion, the confidence he brought to that backfield. Suddenly, the Denver Broncos had a real running back. Let's look at the numbers, because numbers don't lie. In just 4 games with the Denver Broncos, J.K. Dobbins has already accumulated 323 rushing yards. That's an average of over 80 yards per game. But the yards per carry average is even more impressive. 5.7 yards. 5.7. That's not normal. That's elite. That's the kind that changes entire offenses, and these aren't just empty yards in garbage time. Dobbins has already scored 3 rushing touchdowns. 3 times he crossed that end zone carrying the ball with violence, with determination. 3 times he made Empower Field explode with joy. Now think with me about the Chargers situation. Think about their meeting room when they saw J.K. Dobbins destroying them in Week 3. Because yes, the Broncos and Chargers faced each other early in the season. Seeing Dobbins running against his former team, showing what they let slip away, must have hurt deeply in Los Angeles. The Chargers literally watched a guy they had, who produced for them, go to a direct division rival and become a centerpiece immediately. And worse, they spent $16 million to replace him poorly. Najee Harris was supposed to be the answer. But football is unforgiving. One injury, and all that investment turned to dust. And the worst part is, It wasn't an on-field injury during an important game. The guy got hurt in a bizarre incident involving fireworks on the 4th of July. Fireworks? You can't make this stuff up. Tell me, Broncos country, can you understand the size of this move? Can you see how the Denver Broncos front office simply fooled everyone? If you're true Broncos country, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single play. Because this season is being special and you won't want to miss out on anything happening in Denver. And there's more. Because J.K. Dobbins isn't alone in the backfield. The Denver Broncos also have R.J. Harvey, another young talent who's starting to find his rhythm. The Dobbins and Harvey duo has the potential to be one of the most dynamic in the league. An explosive and intelligent veteran working in tandem with a fast and hungry youngster, especially after the performance against the Cincinnati Bengals, where the running game finally showed that consistency that was lacking, where the Broncos managed to control the clock, move the chains, and keep the defense rested, where Sean Payton finally got to execute the kind of balanced offense he's always wanted to have in Denver. Because look, football isn't just about pretty passes and spectacular touchdowns. It's about physical yards. It's about 3rd down and 2 yards and knowing you can convert it by running. It's about being up by 4 points with 3 minutes left and being able to drain the clock by keeping the ball on the ground. It's about making the opposing defense feel every hit, every tackle, until in the 4th quarter they're exhausted. J.K. Dobbins is giving all of that to the Denver Broncos for $2 million. But it's not just about money. It's about timing. It's about finding the right player at the right moment in his career. J.K. Dobbins left Los Angeles wanting to prove he's still one of the best, that injuries didn't define him, that he can be the centerpiece of a playoff offense. And the Denver Broncos gave him that platform. Let's talk about the human side of this transaction. Because J.K. Dobbins isn't just a set of statistics. The injuries he suffered early in his career could have ended many players. Serious knee injuries that make you question if you'll play at the same level again. The kind of injury that ends careers. But Dobbins fought, rehabbed, worked tirelessly to come back, and when he finally managed to show in Los Angeles that he still had that fuel, his team decided not to invest in him, decided to go in another direction. Imagine the frustration. Imagine working so hard to come back, prove your worth, and then be released. That could have broken many athletes, but not J.K. Dobbins. He took that frustration and turned it into fuel. He signed with the Denver Broncos determined to prove that Los Angeles made a gigantic mistake. And he's doing exactly that. Every yard he gains is a statement. Every touchdown is a message. Every broken tackle is proof that he's still one of the best running backs in the NFL when he's healthy and motivated. That's why this signing is so special. It's not just about numbers or money saved. It's about finding a player at the perfect moment in his career when he has everything to prove and the tools to prove it. It's about giving that player a platform to shine. Now let's project a little forward. If Dobbins continues producing 5.7 yards per carry, we're talking about potential for 1,200, 1,300 yards in the season. That would put him among the best running backs in the league this year, and he'd be doing it for $2 million. If he continues finding the end zone regularly, he could finish with 8, 9, maybe even 10 rushing touchdowns. That's Pro Bowl production. That's the kind of season that makes players earn big contracts in the next offseason. But more important than individual statistics is what this means for the team. Because an efficient running game changes everything. Changes how the Broncos can manage games. Changes how they can protect leads. Changes how they can control time of possession and keep the defense rested. And in a conference as competitive as the AFC, these things matter. A lot. The difference between making the playoffs or staying home is often determined by a few games decided by one possession, by a few third-down situations converted by running the ball, by a few fourth-quarter drives where you can drain 5-6 minutes off the clock. J.K. Dobbins gives the Denver Broncos all these capabilities, and it cost only $2 million. Can you see now why this may have been the smartest signing of the entire offseason? Not the most expensive, not the flashiest, but the smartest. The one that will have the best return on investment. The one that could be the difference between a good season and a special season. Because in the end, football is about decisions. decisions about who to hire, how much to pay, when to give opportunities. And the Denver Broncos made the right decisions in this situation. While other teams made mistakes, while the Chargers specifically messed up badly, the Broncos got it right, and now they're reaping the rewards every week. Seeing J.K. Dobbins run like a man possessed, seeing him break that damn 34-game streak without a 100-yard rusher, seeing him give Sean Payton's offense exactly what was missing, for $2 million, $2 million to fix a problem that lasted 2 entire seasons, $2 million to give identity to the running game, make rivals look foolish, $2 million to potentially change the destiny of an entire season. When you put it in those terms, it becomes even more impressive. It becomes even clearer that the Denver Broncos did something special here, something that other teams will study, something that will appear as an example of how to make a perfect signing. And for the Chargers, well, for them, this will be a painful lesson about the value of keeping your own stars, about not taking for granted what you have, about not assuming you'll be able to replace production easily just because you have money or draft picks. Because in football, sometimes the best things are those you already have. And when you let them slip away, you pay the price. And the Chargers are paying that price every week, watching J.K. Dobbins do what he's always done, only now for a direct rival. The Chargers assumed that Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton would be better than J.K. Dobbins. They assumed wrong. And now they're paying for it, literally and figuratively, paying $16 million for inferior production, while the Denver Broncos pays $2 million for elite production. That's how you build a championship team. It's not always about making the most obvious or most expensive move. Sometimes it's about identifying value where others don't see it. It's about having confidence in your scouting, in your coaching, in your ability to develop talent correctly. And the Denver Broncos proved they have all of that, proved it with J.K. Dobbins. And this signing will be remembered for a long time, especially if the Broncos make the playoffs, especially if J.K. Dobbins continues being a dominant force in the running game. Because that's what team building is about. It's about finding the right pieces, not necessarily the most expensive or most famous, but the right ones, the ones that fit what you're trying to do, the ones that fill real needs, the ones that bring not just talent, but also attitude, motivation, and desire to prove value. J.K. Dobbins brings all of that, and the Denver Broncos had the vision to recognize it and the courage to act. While other teams hesitated, the Broncos went straight to the point and got the guy who could solve their problems immediately. And he solved them. 4 games and the cursed streak ended. 323 yards later, and the running game is a real force again. 3 touchdowns later, and the end zone doesn't seem so distant when you're in the red zone. That's transformation. That's what a perfect signing can do for a team. And it cost the Denver Broncos only $2 million. So the next time someone talks about big off-season signings, remind them about J.K. Dobbins. Remind them that sometimes the smartest move isn't the loudest. Remind them that the Denver Broncos proved you can win the offseason without breaking the bank. And remind them that while the Chargers spent $16 million and have little to show for it, the Broncos spent $2 million and have an elite running back, a broken streak, and a transformed offense. So, Denver Broncos family, what would you do if you were the Chargers general manager right now? How would you justify this decision to the fans? Comment down below. Leave a like, share with friends who are true Broncos country, and see you in the next video. Let's keep following this epic season together.